Yeah, Jewish Republican Coalition, I think. They had a meeting a couple of days ago.
Yeah, that sounds... I don't know what the hell you call that.
Yeah. Basically, it's oy vey, they know the truth now. That's what it is.
Right. Yeah.
That's basically was them panicking that young Americans are waking up to Jewish power in America, and this has been a topic that's been censored for a long time.
You know what's crazy, Myron? Both sides.
Yep.
The left and the right.
Well, it's so I was talking about this with a friend. This is the first time ever, and I can't think of another political issue. If you guys could think of one, please let me know. Yeah. But this is the only political issue that I've seen both people on the far right and the far left actually agree on.
Right.
It's the only thing is what now for different reasons. On the right wing, it's more for nationalism, subverting our government. You know, for a lot of the Christians killing people, right, bombing churches. For the left, it's this is an apartheid ethno. State that's occupying these people. So for them, it's more humanitarian. For us, for on the right wing, it's more about nationalism and subverting our government. And then obviously for the devout Christians, like killing children. Right. I think both sides agree on that's wrong. But yeah, man, it's crazy where two different factions. But put it this way: if me and Hassan Piker agree on something, you're fucking up.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like something's going on.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Either way you chop it up, both sides is a conflict for both.
Yeah.
In our country.
Yep.
Yeah. What's up with this idea that they're Jews are God's chosen people? And when I hear Christians make that argument, I'm like, kind of dumbfounded. I'm like speechless. Like, how do you draw that conclusion?
Yeah, it's retarded dispensationalism. It's really what it comes down to. It's
It's a talking point. It's a talking point. It's like a crutch.
Yeah, it's like retarded evangelical Christians.
Yeah, they take scripture out of context to fit their narrative. I don't see how people fall for it. Like, Ted Cruz is like the worst. He really pushes that.
Yeah, the Schofield Bible is, absolutely brainwashed a lot of these people. And,
Do you think they're brainwashed or they've been paid to say that?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. I think
they got incentive.
I think it's indoctrination and obviously a financial thing. And then also, like, from a political stance, you're not making it in D.C. unless you support the Jews. Like, it's just not happening.
They dictate who's elected in our
Absolutely.
country.
And the GOP, it's even more so.
Right.
Right? Now, and this is what I predict, right? So as we know, there's the mayor race with Mamdani, right? Who he's probably going to win.
I hope he wins.
Yeah.
I hope he wins.
So this is what I think is going to happen. If Mamdani wins, which is heavily favored, right? What's more than likely going to happen is the Democrats are going to take that political strategy. And the reason why Mamdani is so relatable is because he doesn't take Zionist lobby money, or at least doesn't do it overtly. He's promising people free shit, whatever. But I think one of the most endearing things about him, why people are voting for him, is that he's not taking Zionist money like the other candidates. Right. And I think for the DNC or the Democrats, that's going to be how they're going to campaign based off of how Mamdani's doing it now. AOC and Bernie Sanders came out to support him. I think you can't. They had like a rally called like "You Can't Buy New York" or something like that. Because Bill Ackman and all these other rich Jews have been like putting millions upon millions behind people competing against running against Mamdani. Which is kind of funny because like I think Bill Ackman and them have spent more money trying to keep Mamdani out of office versus what Mamdani would have probably charged them for taxes. So it's like it's kind of funny. But they obviously have a vested interest because he's not super pro-Israel. But I think that's going to be the playbook that the Democrats use in the 2020 election because they've lost so much support.
Because of that support for Israel.
Exactly. So they're going to have to rebrand. And I think the way they're going to rebrand is they're going to have to be the party that finally puts the foot down on the Zionist lobby. But I don't know. I think we're still like maybe 2 or 3 elections away from doing that. I still think that they still have their tentacles very deep when it comes to the political world. Politicians are typically 10, 20 years behind, the public anyway. So it's going to take some time to move those gears that have been stuck like that for decades.
Yeah. When I hear that term Zionist or Christian Zionist, that's like an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a retarded genius.
Right. But then I heard, Officer Tatum, right? He calls himself a black Zionist.
Yeah, bro.
Christian. I was like, that's even more of an oxymoron.
Yeah. When because I had a debate with him, right?
Right. Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, you saw it?
Yeah.
And look, I'm the type of person I can, agree to disagree with you, even if you have a pro-Zionist stance or whatever. I can still have a respectful discussion. But it's crazy how He was just like denying the genocide, denying people dying.
He was like, prove it.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. And then so I'm like, bro, we got this shit like 4K. Like, literally, like
only a Republican. You can look at the drone footage, look at that city, the children, the innocent non-combatants that died. Yeah. That's not a genocide. That's war.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's crazy because when I put the shoe on the other foot, I'm like, okay, let's go off your logic that it's a war. So then October 7th, shouldn't that be that big of a deal, right? Exactly. It's war, right? When they went in there and attacked them. And he's like, oh, well, they killed, 1,200 Israelis. Not really. The IDF killed a lot of them too. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, bro, the Hannibal Directive, right? And for your audience that might not be familiar, there's this directive that Israel uses when Palestinian militias try to come into the kibbutzes and kidnap people. They'd rather kill those people that are being kidnapped, right? They say, oh, it's only for soldiers. Well, in Israel, military service is required for at least like 2 years. So everyone's effectively a soldier, right? So anyone that gets kidnapped, they would rather shoot and kill that person or bomb them or whatever it is than let them get back into Gaza. And the reason why is because every single time they kidnap people and get them back over there, they know they're going to have to give like 100 Palestinians to get that one Israeli back. It puts them in a very difficult diplomatic position with hostage negotiation. And they kind of learned their lesson back in like, I think 2014, they kidnapped a guy named like Gilad Shalit, who was an IDF soldier. They had to give 1,000 Palestinians to get him back.
Wow.
And one of those Palestinians that came back, Yahya Sinwar, the guy who planned the October 7th attack.
Wow.
So that's why they don't like doing these hostage exchanges, because a lot of times it's people that they hate coming back. And with Yahya Sinwar, for those that don't know, he was the head of the military wing of Hamas. And he understood why Hamas was able to do that attack and everything else, besides the fact that I think there was a stand-down order. This guy was in jail for like 20 years. And he read and spoke Hebrew, one of the few Arabs that knew how to do it. He studied the Shin Bet and the Mossad. He was aware of all their tactics. So he was a very dangerous enemy for the Israelis, right next to Qassam Soleimani with the IRGC. So when they got him back, that was a problem. So that's what ended up happening later on. So with the Israelis, they don't like doing these hostage negotiations. They sit there and say, oh yeah, we want the hostages back. That's a lie, dude. You guys had a warfare for 2 years. They could have got those hostages back October 10th.
Right.
On 2023, like literally days after they got kidnapped, they could have got them back. And this was reported by Times of Israel. There was a guy who was representing all the families. He went and met with with Benjamin Netanyahu and a bunch of the other, Yoav Golan, all these guys. And basically what they told him behind closed doors was like, hey, look, we want the hostages back, but the military campaign comes first of disrupting and dismantling Hamas. But they could have got him back in exchange for not bombing the hell out of Gaza. But what does that prove? It was never about the hostages. They used October 7th to not just destroy Gaza and do the ethnic cleansing that they're doing now, but also to wage a war in Lebanon, wage a war on Iran, bomb the Houthis, hell, bombing Qatar. Like they've bombed like every Middle Eastern country around them. So that's what it really was. It was never about the hostages because they could have got them back literally 2 to 3 days later, and no one ever talks about it. And it was reported in the Times of Israel by the person representing the families. He has no reason to lie about that.
Yeah. You know what? I wasn't familiar. After that, what happened in Israel? I forget the day. It was October 7th or 11th? What was
it? The 7th of 2023.
Right. I didn't know Israel, the IDF, kidnapped like 1,000 Palestinians and had them as hostages and didn't even charge them with anything until the hostages got released.
Yes. So
that's a war crime.
Yes, they do it all the time. Okay. So when people say, because no one ever actually analyzes why Hamas did what they did. There's a bunch of different reasons. Number one, what you just said. The Palestinians that are being incarcerated without any type of due process, that are literally there, and there's women and children too there. Oh, you're linked to a terrorist, your brother's a terrorist, we're putting you in jail and you got no due process. Next, the Abraham Accords. People think, oh, Trump struck these, Abraham Accords, this is so famous. The Abraham Accords basically was a treaty where Arab countries would recognize Israel. But the thing is this, many of these Arab countries before the Abraham Accords said, we're not recognizing you until you give the Palestinians a state. Right? But what Israel's been doing is they've been kind of kicking the can down the road alongside the United States and trying to get Arab countries to recognize them without dealing with the Palestine question. So there's a bunch of countries that signed on. Sudan did, Bahrain, the UAE, Morocco, I think, a bunch of these countries did. And when October 7th happened, there was actually supposed to be a meeting with Saudi Arabia to join into the Abraham Accords. Now, if Saudi Arabia joined the Abraham Accords, that would have been a big problem because Saudi Arabia is the most influential country in the Middle East because of its religious relevance when it comes to Medina and Mecca. So the Palestinians understood, and Hamas, if the Saudis accept Israel recognize it as a state through the Abraham Accords, we lose a lot of our leverage. Because one of the things for a long time, Saudi Arabia said, we're not going to recognize you until you make a two-state or one-state solution. So that's another reason why that triggered the attack is Saudi Arabia potentially joining the Abraham Accords and Israel trying to circumvent answering the Palestine question. Next was more of a religious reason, the temple. So what they're planning to do is they want to take down the Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Right, I heard.
And rebuild their temple on that mount. Now, what they've been doing for literally decades is they've been hollowing out the ground underneath. Right? Doing it secretly. And the mosque, building tunnels, exactly. And no jokes, like building tunnels under there, hollowing out the ground.
Right.
And the, what was I going to say? The mosque needs a lot of repairs. It's old. And they've been denying permits of fixing it for literally decades. So they want to destroy that mosque and build a temple. That's another reason why Hamas went in. And actually, a lot of Americans don't know this. The name of the operation was called Operation Al-Aqsa Flood. October 7th, Al-Aqsa Flood, because they did. It was for the Abraham Accords, the Palestinian prisoners, the Al-Aqsa Mosque being destroyed, and also obviously the occupation. You know, where they're occupying them in the West Bank and in Gaza. So those were the main reasons why they attacked. And it's always interesting to me how American media never covers why. And they did the same exact shit with Osama bin Laden too.
Right.
And you guys are old enough to remember alongside me when 2001 happened and we got attacked. You know, all the propaganda, they hate us because we're free. Dick Cheney just died yesterday, too. Right? Yeah. The architect of the fucking Israeli war, I call him the top neocon.
Right.
Like, all those lies they told us, but what ended up happening was this letter to America went viral in 2023. And in this letter, on TikTok, it went viral. Bin Laden outlined why they hate the United States and why they attacked us. And when you actually read it, you're like, oh, damn, we did a lot of fucked up shit in the Middle East. Right. They don't hate us because we're free. They hate us because we take their freedom away.
Right.
So
when I heard Nick Fuentes bring this up, that Muslims don't attack and kill people indiscriminately unless you're doing that same thing to them.
Yeah, it's haram. I mean, I grew up in a Muslim household. Killing innocent people is completely unacceptable. Obviously, you know, some extremists contort the Quran to the way that they want to do it. But for the Israelis to sit there and say, oh, like these guys are just attacking us out of nowhere. It's like, dude, you've been occupying them. You've been stealing their land. You kill them. You unjustly imprison them. The only way for them to get those prisoners back is through these hostage exchanges because Hamas doesn't have the capability of fighting the IDF at all. Right. And that's another thing, too. People sit there and say, oh, well, Hamas killed the hostages. That makes no sense. Why would they invade, kidnap them, bring them to Gaza, and kill them when that's the only leverage they have to get their people back?
Right.
People are so dumb. And a lot of these people that died, and it's proven now too, the people that died, the hostages, they were killed by Israel. And the reason why I know this a big part is because a lot of those hostages right now are under the rubble. So I'm sure you guys heard about the 20-point plan that Trump made with Hamas, whatever. One of the contingencies was that they give all the corpses back. So they gave the 20 hostages that were alive, and then they had to give the other 20 like corpses. Well, Hamas can't even give them all because they're buried under the rubble. Well, who put them under the rubble? It wasn't them. It was Israel bombing the fuck out of them that day.
So that proves the point. Even more proof that, hey, y'all just killing us indiscriminately.
Yeah. And you guys killed your own hostages. So it's like, oh, yeah, okay, damn, about that. Okay, here's some, and they like brought bulldozers in and shit like that to help them try to, get them out. But it contradicts what they've been saying for years where, Hamas has been killing the hostages. No, they haven't. Yeah. You guys killed the hostages. Why would they give up their only leverage that they have when, these guys have like World War II fucking weaponry and shit, AK-47s that don't even shoot. And they want to, let's go through all this crap and kidnap these dudes and kill them back in Gaza. Like, they're retarded. They could have killed them right then and there if they wanted to do that.
Right. When Trump, they announced these peace agreements between Hamas and Israel, there was a situation where there was a large crowd in Israel, in Tel Aviv. They started booing Netanyahu.
Yeah.
Do we have that footage?
When Steve Witkoff was there, with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, they were giving the speech like as they were doing
Trump
the thing.
Was there too, right?
He wasn't. He was.
Ivanka was. Ivanka.
Yeah, Ivanka was. I'm trying to. I don't know where was Trump at that time. Because he had done a Middle Eastern tour.
Yeah.
He had been.
He was somewhere out there.
I think he went to Egypt.
Yeah.
He might have been in Egypt at the time or was going back. But yeah, because Charlie Kirk's birthday. So he was back to give him a medal. I think he went back.
Right.
There you go.
There it is.
That was when they were doing it.
Benjamin Netanyahu.
That's in Tel Aviv, right?
Yeah.
That's the capital of Israel?
Well, I don't know if isn't Jerusalem the capital, I think. But,
Yeah,
but either way, it's their main city. It's their major. It's like that's their New York City.
Yeah.
Right.
To Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Damn. Ivanka.
Ivanka doesn't even want to be there. Is she like pissed that they're booing?
She's dead inside.
Yeah, she converted to Judaism, I think.
Yes, she is. How do you do that?
Let me just finish
It's really hard. Takes years. They don't want any of us in. We're all dirty goyim. They're never going to accept her as a real Jew, by the way, too. It's kind of funny.
I was in the trenches, guys. Let me just finish my thought.
Let me get credit for this. We work so hard.
I was in the trenches with the Prime Minister. Believe me, he was a very important part here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, nah.
That's all Trump.
They hate him, huh? Jesus.
Yeah, like, you know.
How does that? Because I used to think Judaism was a religion.
Yeah, being
no,
a Jew
it's a race.
It's both.
Yeah.
It's an ethno-religion. It's both. It's very unique. And this is why we're going back to the whole
Black Zionist
dispensationalism
thing.
and
Yeah.
shit. It's kind of funny because like they'll sit there and they'll say, "Oh, God promised me this land, but I'm an atheist." Like, you know what I mean? It's like, well,
Right.
What?
God promises this,
yeah.
but I'm not a Christian.
Yeah, 'cause
I
most-
think he's in hell burning,
Yeah.
bowling in semen.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
And like these, the temple thing, right? Because obviously they don't accept Jesus at all. They look at him as like a sorcerer. His mom was a whore. You know, he's a criminal. All this other stuff. They got him killed. So with the whole temple, the temple organization that's like funding them doing this with, and they're also like bought a bunch of cows, by the way, too. I forgot to mention.
red heifers.
The red heifers. They bought a bunch of red heifers from Texas, and they actually did a test run. What's that dude? Adam King, whatever. They killed one in July.
Yeah.
These niggas are crazy. Like they're like getting ready. Like we're about to fucking bring the Messiah back. Let's go. They did a whole test run, bro. And the nigga's crazy. They killed the fucking cow.
Yeah.
He got the ashes and he brought that shit to the podcast.
I know, I saw it.
What the fuck is going on? They pulls him out all happy as shit. You didn't even see Tim was like uncomfortable. Like, ugh. I think it was like on Tim bullshit. Yeah, like this nigga brought the ashes back. I was like, what the hell is going on? But like, it goes to show, like, these guys are nuts. Like, and they're willing to wage war and destroy the entire Middle East to do this because that is a huge reason why the Muslim world has issues with what Israel is doing because they want to destroy that mosque and it's one of the holiest sites.
Yeah, tell us about the Greater Israel Project.
Yeah, so
And a lot of people don't know about this.
yeah, so okay, I kind of have to go into like Middle Eastern foreign policy for this to make sense. So for people to understand why the Jews, the American Zionist Jews that are here do what they do, we must understand American foreign policy when it comes to Israel because everything that they do here is for the benefit of Israel. And the reality is that Israel's surrounded by hostile countries that don't want them there, right? This has been since 1948. They've had to, fend off and get in wars all the time for what's going on. This is why they have the nuclear bomb, by the way, and why they stole it from us is because of this reason why nobody wants them there. So, and I'll fast forward over to October 7th. So when October 7th happened, right? And you wanted me to answer, what was it? The
Greater Israel Project.
The Greater Israel. Okay. So when October 7th happened, it was like a blessing in disguise for Netanyahu because what it basically did was it allowed him to consolidate power to himself, stave off his criminal charges that he has for bribery and corruption, and do what he's always wanted to do, which is attack and destroy all of his enemies in the bordering countries. Lebanon with Hezbollah, Syria, the Houthis down in Yemen, obviously the IRGC in Iran, etc. So he used October 7th to not just bomb and destroy Gaza and get rid of Hamas, but he also went and then did a ground invasion in Lebanon, started bombing them, killed Hassan Nasrallah, who was the head of Hezbollah at the time, bombed the hell out of the Houthis, killed a lot of their upper leadership. He obviously he was instrumental in getting Syria destabilized and running Bashar al-Assad out of there because as soon as the Lebanon ceasefire got kicked off in late 2024, Ahmed al-Shara, a.k.a. al-Jalani, went with his rebels and took over Syria within 3 weeks because Hezbollah wasn't there to help them and the Russians were fighting obviously with Ukraine, so they couldn't give the air support that they've normally given to Bashar al-Assad. They took Syria in a couple of weeks, and then bam, destabilized. He runs to Russia. Now it's run by Ahmed al-Shara. What does he do? Oh, we want to have diplomacy with Israel in the West. And this is a guy that used to run in Al-Qaeda, by the way. So all of this has been done to create a volatile environment where Israel can spread their influence, because as Syria was going through all this turmoil, they continued their expansion beyond the Golan Heights. They use this whole excuse of, oh, we're bombing Syria because we want to protect the Jews. No, they don't. They want to take more territory in southern Syria. They want to take more territory in southern Lebanon. This is why they've been bombing Lebanon for the past year, even though there's been an active ceasefire in place. Oh, we're just attacking Hezbollah. No, bro, you guys are trying to expand. So the Greater Israel Project is absolutely real, and they want to expand territory. But they sit there. But sometimes, when they're questioned on it directly,
wow, they want all of Iraq.
They'll try to avoid it. But yeah, I mean, this is a big. I mean, speaking of Dick Cheney, Dick Cheney was one of the main architects against Iraq, and a lot of the neocons from that era were Jewish Zionists, right? John Bolton, I think, and Dick Cheney were the only ones that weren't Jewish. But everybody else, Daniel Pearl, Douglas Feith, Paul Wolfowitz, all these guys were all Jews, and they'd been planning this since the 90s with the Clean Break memo of taking over Iraq. But yeah, they want hegemony in the Middle East, and they want to expand territory as much as they can. So that's it, because that will give them the leverage in the Middle East. And the last country standing really against this is Iran, which is why they hate them so much.
Yeah. That term they keep using for them. I was looking up. I did a little research about Brown University. They said we spent like $10 trillion.
Yeah, the war on terror is like, we've spent, and that's just like what they've been able to calculate. That, like, who knows all the opportunities we missed or other things that we could have done that could have been more productive and, created more
That doesn't sound like an ally. It sounds like a parasite to me.
Yeah. And it's great to see that we can finally have this conversation, bro. I remember, dude, back in 2023, before this stuff was okay to talk about, like I would have to use like code words and use sound effects and shit whenever I mentioned them. I used to like hit the cash register, cha-ching, anytime.
Call them globalists.
I would never say Jew. So it's really crazy to see just 2 years. This topic is what got me demonetized, bro. Like this topic is what fucked us up. Yeah, because we were talking about this shit before October 7th. And back then, the censorship was so strong. If you even uttered Zionism or Jews or any of this shit, like you would immediately get put on a hit list by Media Matters, ADL, SPLC, all these fucking watch groups. And they would contact YouTube or these platforms and say, hey, are you aware that this anti-Semite's on your platform, blah, blah, blah. And they would like ban you. But now, since everybody's coming out talking about this stuff, they can't ban everybody, right? The genie's out the bottle. But prior to October 7th and the genocide, bro, like you talked about this, it was a one-way ticket to Banville. So that's precisely what got me demonetized.
Wow, because that word now, man, that's a weapon.
What was that?
They used to weaponize against people and ban you.
Oh, get you debanked, like get you banned off platforms. Like it was, now it doesn't have as much power, right? But I predict, the censorship is going to come back. That's a big thing that they talked about during this whole Jewish Republican coalition. Levine straight up, we're going to censor them. We're going to deplatform them. Blah, blah, blah. Like,
they're no different than the left. They're doing the exact same tactics.
I've said it before, dude. Censorship is Jewish.
Yeah.
People laugh when I say that, but I'm dead ass. Like censorship is a Jewish construct. Dead ass, man. It is a Jewish construct, man. The Bolsheviks did it when they took over in Russia. The first law they put in place: anti-Semitism punished by death.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Carlson, or whether it's Nick Fuentes. For 6 months, I've been fighting these bastards. Whether it's Tucker Carlson, or whether it's Nick Fuentes, and I've been looking over my shoulder looking for help. And you know what I found? Nothing. Nothing. We're here today to do something about this. What do you mean we don't cancel people? We canceled David Duke. Donald Trump canceled David Duke. We canceled Pat Buchanan. We canceled the John Birch Society. We canceled Joseph Sobran. We canceled pornography on TV. We cancel stuff all the damn time. Hitler admirers, Stalin admirers, Jew haters, American haters, Churchill haters. You're damn right we're going to cancel them and deplatform them.
He wants to cancel Tucker Carlson?
Yeah.
They don't have a lifetime job like a bureaucrat who we're going to protect. And if they're your friend, there's something wrong with you.
Wow.
No Hitler admirer, Holocaust denier, platformer should be anybody's friend, as a matter of fact.
No friends, no platform, no nothing, huh?
No.
You don't get to wrap your psychotic, mental, unhinged, Nazi, Klan,
He called it his Nazis.
jihadist bullshit around American patriotism.
I thought they killed Charlie Kirk because of rhetoric like this.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's, you know,
Yeah. Is it more?
Yeah, oh yeah.
You don't get to claim you're MAGA and America first when you're lining up with the Marxists and the Islamists and Hamas and the terrorists.
What? What?
The cowards. We're surrounded by cowards who have microphones, who have TV cameras, who have websites, who have columns. Cowards. It's spelled C-A-R-L-S-O-N.
Wow, he's gonna spell it.
It's spelled
Think he spelled Carlson.
F-U-E-N-T-E-S.
Fuentes.
It's spelled O-W-E-N-S.
Oh, that's
It's spelled
shocking.
B-A-N-N-O-N.
Bannon.
It's spelled Marjorie Trader Green. You can figure
What?
that out yourself. And they're not alone.
Wow.
How are we going to attack the Mandamis and the Talibs and the Omars and the Sanders and the rest of them
Damn, they're throwing
when
us
in our
all in
own
one big
house
group.
this poison is spreading? We've got to take care of business. We can fight the enemy on the other side. But the problem is, the more daunting problem, the more complicated problem is when they're in our house.
Yeah,
That-
that freedom
and-
of speech, man. That's the problem.
And I'm
for
telling you,
guys.
bro, that is a declaration of war because the past 2 years, right? Well, Israel's been fighting this fight. They kind of took their finger off the pulse of media. They were more concerned with, all right, we need to, you know, attack Gaza, attack Lebanon, attack Iran, wage this war with the 12-day war, etc. So what's kind of happened is they've been focusing more on the conflict versus controlling the media as usual.
Right.
Now that we have the ceasefire and the war in general is kind of over, even though they're still striking Gaza, now they have to basically fix the reputation that they've destroyed over the past 2 years. This is why Netanyahu's been running around doing more interviews. He did trigonometry, Tatum, PBD. There's one other he did. I'm trying to Nelk, which was retarded.
You can tell all that was deliberate.
Oh, 100%, because you knew, and it's only 30 minutes. Right, I'm sure they probably had to give. They gave the questions beforehand, etc. Softball interviews,
Right.
Because they understand. Oh wow, we are losing influence in the United States. We need to repair our thing. So he started doing interviews. Larry Ellison buys fucking TikTok, right? Now you can't talk about AIPAC and from the river to the sea and all this other stuff is banned, right? It's more Israel friendly. Jordana Cutler, head of relations over at Meta, they're starting to censor more now on Meta and Facebook. She used to work for Netanyahu directly. TikTok also hired a former IDF soldier, I think maybe from Unit 8200, to do the trusted safety at TikTok. Now Twitter, they changed the algorithm. Have you guys noticed more like pro-Israel stuff on your timeline? I've seen way more pro-Israel stuff. So they changed that. They started paying influencers $7,000. Netanyahu met with a bunch of them when he was here at the UN like a month ago, strategizing how they're going to combat this. So basically, the Hezbollah police are starting to gear up and they're getting ready. And now at this coalition, I look at this as more of a declaration of war on anyone that has been critical of Israel, especially on the right. And now that they are done with the conflict for the most part, they're gearing up to do a mass censorship is what I think. Because, and I think the big reason why they're doing is in order to wage the war in Iran that they want, they do need U.S. support. They can't do it themselves. So they're going to have to alter the landscape a little bit to be more favorable before they go full on again with Iran, because I think they're going to try to hit them again either by the end of this year or sometime next year. So
I think if we go to war with Iran, that's gonna kill all the momentum Trump has. And the Republican Party.
It'll mess them up.
Yeah,
big time. And you know, I don't even like the fact that he bombed.
What
Iran.
was the whole purpose behind that? They said they have the right to defend themselves.
Well, they think Iran's going to build a nuke, and then they're going to nuke Israel.
Yeah.
And then which
Why would anybody create a
guarantees their
nuke?
death.
Why would somebody create a nuke just to start a nuclear war? It doesn't make no sense.
You know, it's funny because Israel's saying, oh, you guys can't have a nuclear bomb, but they have a nuclear bomb.
Right.
And it's an illegal one that's unacknowledged that they stole their uranium from us. So it's like, you know, and the interesting thing is like, and this is one thing that I think Trump made a big mistake on. Pulling us out of the Iran nuclear deal was horrible, right? Because what ended up happening was Mike Pompeo, who at the time I think was the think he was a national security advisor, then he became the Secretary of State. 2018, they pull out the nuclear deal. Next year, they designate the IRGC as a foreign terrorist organization, FTO. And then in 2020, they kill Qasem Soleimani, who ran the IRGC and the Acts of Resistance.
Soleimani, yeah, I remember.
And they did the airstrike on him in Iraq, which they used some weird Iraqi law from the Patriot Act to do, which you can make the argument that was illegal too. And they did all this because of the Jewish lobby. An enormous amount of pressure from the Adelsons, like, hey, we don't want them to be a part of this nuclear deal. So Trump basically came in and sabotaged it, and made them on the terrorist watch, put them on the terrorist watch list or whatever as FTO. And we haven't had good relations with them since. But they were cooperating with the agreement because they wanted the sanctions gone. But the Israel lobby was like, no, we can't do it because they're building a nuclear bomb, blah, blah, blah. Them enriching uranium to a higher degree was more from a negotiation standpoint than them actually building a nuclear bomb, right? They know that if they get a nuclear bomb, it's going to put them in a very bad position diplomatically. But it's like, it's the only way that they can really defend themselves versus Israel. Israel's been assassinating their scientists, killing their high-ranking military officials, etc., with impunity for decades. So they're like, okay, these guys have a nuclear bomb. The only way we're going to be able to defend ourselves from these crazy fucks is we need to have a nuclear bomb too. And honestly, I think them having a nuclear bomb would probably create more stabilization in the Middle East because it would check Israel. Yeah. Now, no one wants to talk about this because they're like, oh, no, of course not. But I look at it like, if we're going to have the right to protect our national security and stuff, why can't other countries do that as well?
We
because
believe
Israel's
in democracy,
a rogue state. Yeah, Israel's a fucking rogue state that bombs and attacks all their enemies. So I like, if I'm going to be in Iran's shoes, that's the only way they can really fight back. And us bombing them, I think it backfired because this is what happened. We thought bombing them and doing all this, we would decapitate the government to a degree where the people would rise up and take over. This is why that Shah, remember, he was like doing all these interviews and doing commercials and fucking Farsi. Hey, rise up, people! The government's down. Israel hit them really hard. Come back and take your country. Failed. No one rose up. It actually did the opposite. When they got attacked that day, back in June, everyone started rioting in the streets saying, we need to hit these Israelis back. And the people that didn't like the government, that didn't like the Ayatollah, all of a sudden banded behind the government and rallied around the flag because though they might not like Khamenei and the theocracy, they hate Israel more. So they're like, fuck that. This is a Pearl Harbor event. We're going to fight back. So it actually backfired. They got the people that were disgruntled with the government to get behind the government so they can attack them back. And the next thing you know, the fucking Iranians started hitting the Israelis back very hard. And another thing that the media, American media, like totally fucking lied about was Iran's capabilities of hitting Israel back very hard. They hit a bunch of Mossad sites, Shin Bet sites, a lot of strategic locations. And the Israelis, what they did was they made it illegal. If any journalist was like capturing what got hit, they would put him in jail. There was like footage of many different international journalists like trying to record what was happening. And the police and the Israeli government officials would tell them, get the fuck out of here. Don't record this. Because they didn't want the Iranians to see what they hit and then refine the GPS coordinates and then hit them again. But they were hitting them really hard, bro. And the Iron Dome was not able to intercept everything. And a big reason why the war ended, they'll never admit this, was because the interceptor missiles that they were using cost significantly more money than the missiles that Iran was shooting into Tel Aviv and into Haifa. So if the war had kept going, this was a warfare style that the Israelis simply could not maintain because the interceptor missiles are way more expensive than the missiles that they were shooting. They got like $10,000, $20,000 drones that are getting shot down by these interceptor missiles, which are like hundreds of thousands each. So they couldn't sustain that warfare for long, and they were getting hit hard. But the American media didn't report on it. But now it's starting to come out, because I have seen some Israeli media, damn, they hit us pretty hard, right? But it's hard to find. It's in Hebrew. But it's been completely avoided in American media.
I came across a bunch of fake videos of Iranians celebrating Israel bombing Iran. Did you see those? I was like, this is so fake.
Very fake. And the Iranians don't like Israel for a multitude of reasons. Like, it is true that they were fragmented in their government. Because I actually talked with an Iranian guy about this. He's Iranian himself. So basically what happened, so they have two parties just like us, right? They got the reformists, which are their versions of the Democrats, and then they got the conservatives, which is their Republican Party. And the reformists have been wanting to do diplomacy with the West for a very long time to relieve the sanctions. They have crippling sanctions going on right now, right? That's why they jumped in a nuclear deal, brought inspectors in, all this crap. They wanted to normalize relations and finally start making some money off their resources. But the conservatives were like, no, we can't trust these guys. They backstabbed us every single time. We can't trust them. And there's been this rift in the government for a very long time with Iran. Half wants to work with the West and release the sanctions, others don't trust them. When Israel attacked, and not only did they attacked when there was a planned meeting on fucking Sunday in Qatar, by the way.
Right.
You know, because the context matters. They hit them on like a Thursday or a Friday. They were supposed to meet with Steve Witkoff in Qatar for the nuclear stuff. So they didn't see it coming, right? So when they got hit, not only did they get hit, they got hit really hard, and it was in the middle of negotiations. So that was the first time where the reformists and the conservatives came together and said, fuck these guys.
Right.
We're going to start hitting them. And they started raining fucking missiles down into Tel Aviv, and they hit them really hard. And it's funny, too, because like a lot of the strategic sites were actually in Tel Aviv in highly populated areas. So what were they doing? Using the Israelis as fucking human shields. I've heard that one before, right?
Yeah.
Did the same exact shit that Hamas did, and they complained for. Every fucking accusation is actually a confession. Yeah. But yeah, dude, it was like hundreds of millions of dollars a day to defend themselves, and they just could not keep that up. Those interceptor missiles were going like this, and that's a big reason why the war had to end.
Right. Our next election, presidential, I think a lot of people on the right, our allegiance to Israel's, everybody's eyes open now. Do you think the next candidate for the Republican Party for president, if they have this strong allegiance to Israel, it will cause them not to vote or not to support the Republican Party?
That's a really good question, bro, because the problem with the GOP is that on this side, we're owned by the Jews, right? We got to have a very honest discussion about this.
Oh, definitely.
The Republicans are owned by the fucking Jewish lobby. It's really bad. And I would argue that's actually the last bastion where they have support.
Exactly.
Right. And they feel it. And that's why they had this fucking, coalition meeting. And we're not working with the Heritage Foundation anymore. Tucker needs to be banned. All these guys need to be censored, blah, blah, blah. Ben Shapiro dropped the fucking 40-minute video talking smack. You know what I mean? Like, bro, they're in full defense mode, these guys.
Yeah.
You know, full on fucking defense mode. So they see the walls closing in. And the last place of refuge for them is the Republican Party. So, I think JD's probably going to run into 2028, maybe Marco Rubio. Rubio. I think they're going to run, but, I see maybe one or two more elections where this whole Israel's our greatest ally thing is going to be a campaigning thing. And actually, Charlie passing away, tragically, he was a big supporter of Israel, and him, and now that we're seeing all these people kind of get red pilled on Israel, like Charlie kept a lot of that away. Because if you guys notice, even more people are getting woke to this crap since he's passed away. So, and look, I spoke with Charlie before. I disagree with him on Israel, but I think everything else he stood for was great. Right. The family unit, being devout, being a good man, etc. This was really the only thing I disagree with him on. And obviously, what happened to him was terrible. And it's funny, too, because, or interesting, is the next day I was supposed to do a debate in Asheville, North Carolina. Ended up having to cancel it. So for me, it hit really close home because, like, there weren't many people that were going out and talking to these crazy fucks on college campuses. It was like me, him, Crowder just started doing it again. But at the time he passed, it was really just me and him that were doing it because it is very hostile and dangerous to do it. But
I was always leery about that. I said, man,
when
I look at it, I said, man, y'all crazy.
It's a pain in the ass logistically.
Security detail is a joke.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass logistically. So not many people did it, so rest in peace to him. But yeah, he was, since he's passed away, more and more people have been getting red pilled on the Jews. And I mean, that goes to show that he was a big supporter of them. And I think he was trying to deal with the problem before he passed. I remember he did a video with a bunch of young people from Turning Point. Hey, what's your issues with Israel? Let's have a discussion about this. Let me bring Dave Smith on to debate, Josh Hammer, right? So he was like kind of trying to, okay, there's a big shift here. We need to change. The letter came out where he was telling Netanyahu, look, we got a PR problem here. So he was trying to stop this great mass awakening from happening, but he was tragically passed away.
I think it's very important. We need to point out that he didn't choose the Israel lobby over Tucker Carlson.
Yeah. And I commend him for that because, when you're getting that much money from them, right, him even platforming Tucker or allowing someone like a Dave Smith, people forget Dave Smith's a libertarian. He's not really a right-winger or a Democrat. He's a libertarian. So, having him on to debate Hammer on the stage at Turning Point USA, like that pissed a lot of people off. So he got a lot of heat for that. And then obviously having Tucker on, yeah, they were pissed. Because, one thing I've noticed about these guys is, they don't want to have discussion. They just want you gone. Like there's no debates. Like, why do we support Israel? Anti-Semite, get them out of here. Like they'd rather just ban you than talk to you.
They can't. Their positions on the whole Israel issue with the United States. They can't stand up to scrutiny.
I've said it before. It's an indefensible position.
Right.
It's literally an indefensible position because, like,
especially when you're Christian.
Yeah. If you're arguing from the Christianity standpoint, it makes no sense.
And these are pro-lifers we're talking about.
Yeah. That's actually a good point.
Yeah.
No, you're right because it's like, hey, we shouldn't abort babies, but what about babies getting bombed in Gaza? A lot of them Christian too. So
like Tatum was like, he's pro-life.
Yeah.
And he was at that same meeting, and he talked, and he said he wants to turn that place into a parking lot.
Yeah.
But he says he's pro-life.
And he denied.
Christian.
And when I said it's a genocide, he denied it.
Myron, it ain't no genocide.
Yeah, it ain't no genocide. Fuck around and find out. It's like, bro.
We got him right here.
Okay.
God has said, I know what the principles of God mean to people like me as a Christian. And we have to stand by those principles to the very end.
Why's he got a gold chain on?
I don't like you guys to hear bold and courageous, but this is the time to be more bold than ever before. Anti-Semitism in America is out of control.
Wait a minute.
It's no longer a time where you can sit back and watch others perform and watch others stand up for what's right. You have to get off of your butt, get online or wherever you need to get and stand up for what's real and what's true. And let me say this.
That fade clean though. That's a clean fade.
I will never give credence to foolish people who are anti-Semitic, who are racist, people who hate America. I will never support them.
Who are these people?
I don't care how long you've been podcasting.
Basically us.
He's talking about Nick Fuentes, but I don't think he's racist. I think he's prejudiced.
Yeah, well, everybody's racist to a degree, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be.
He's racist against people that don't agree with Israel.
Yeah, it's like, bro, everybody, this whole thing of like calling people racist or whatever, it's like so gay. Because it's like, bro, everybody is inherently racist to a degree, bro. If we're walking down the street, we see 5 in Nike tracksuits. Bro, we're all across the street, bro. Like all of us. None of us gonna go there let me test it out because I believe in civil liberty. Fuck that.
Right.
Bro, we're crossing the street, bro. Fuck that, man.
Right.
They get mad when people say like, "Oh, I don't want to live around black people." Bro, nobody wants to live around black people. Even me, us. The black flight is real, man. Nobody wants to be around these man. Yeah. Come on. It's like we just sit here and deny the truth. Like, oh, look at you hate yourself. I mean, I just don't want to die.
You know what's crazy? Me and Kevin figured out when it was like 10, 11 years old because we kept having horrible experiences with black kids on the black side of town. I didn't even want to go to the black side.
Right.
I said, man, because a kid pulled a gun on us.
Yeah. I remember my black friend.
I get more racism from blacks than anybody else.
Oh, most definitely. I think black people are way more racist.
Way more, bro. Yeah. And like they'll sit there, right? Like I love it because like, people like us, right? Because like we're on the right wing and, we're around the white people more. They're like, oh, look at these guys. These guys are the whites don't even like them. They hate them, blah, blah, blah. Bro, you might get one retard on Twitter that calls us or whatever, right?
That's an anomaly.
But that's an anomaly, bro. Yeah. It's like I get more love from white nationalists. They rock with me more and show me more support and respect than these. They'll sit there and take one off. Look, see, he called you an America. Oh, look, he said that you're a bookie over here. All right, bro, that's like 1 out of 1,000.
Yeah.
They take this one person that says some bullshit on Twitter and think this. See, look, you guys cooning for these. They don't even like you.
Right.
You're fucking retarded, bro.
Yeah, like, I don't even care if they like me or not.
It doesn't matter,
I stand for what I think is right.
Yes.
That's why I stand the way I stand.
Yeah, and then and I tell them too all the time, like, because I agree with you on that. Like, the facts are the facts. It doesn't matter if they like me or not. The truth is, nobody wants to live around it.
Right.
The truth is, they commit a disproportionate amount of violent crime relative to the fucking population.
Yeah.
The truth is that they don't like taking criticism from other people, and they look at it like, unless you're an FBA, we don't want to hear from you. And even if you are an FBI, they're going to still call you a fucking tether anyway. Yeah. So blacks are very hard-headed and, and have a backwards culture where if you speak proper English, if you say ask instead of ax, or if you're fucking educated, or if most of your friends are Caucasian or whatever, they're going to call you an Uncle Tom,
trying to be white.
Yeah, you're trying to be white. Like they always have these pejorative names for you when you're not a fucking like it's wild. You don't behave like them. They're like, oh, wait, you don't like Kool-Aid? Get the fuck about it. Like, it's like, bro, I hate fried chicken. I hate it. I want grilled chicken. Oh, you white. Like, oh, excuse me for not wanting to be a fat piece of shit with acne on my face, Jamal.
Yeah.
But it's like, damn, you know. But it's like, so it's like it always pisses me off how it's like they just sit there and say, oh, you guys for the white, blah blah blah. I'll tell you this: white niggas support. You niggas want everything for free, right? Yeah, like you, bro, you.
I'll tell you what, man. Before I went into politics, we did comedy shows, and I thought the love was amazing.
Yeah.
But when I came out as Republican, we come out to a standing ovation.
Yeah.
We leave to a standing ovation, and then they buy all our merchandise after our show.
They support the hell out of us.
It feel like you on cloud 9 when you walk out on stage.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It puts chill. I'm just thinking about it. Puts chills all over my body.
Yeah. No. And look, it's people sit there and say, oh, you guys know whatever, but it's like, bro, you don't even want to live around this. So what are you talking about? So it's just always the thing is that we're okay with saying the truth, even though it hurts the group that we're representing, right? So like, I'll give you another example. I'm Muslim, come from a Muslim household. I don't think it's appropriate to pray in fucking Times Square. I got so much slack for that. Oh, what are you talking about? They play the church bells. Well, this is a Christian country. No, it's not. You know, and then they go ahead and have a whole argument there. And like for me, I look at it like,
well, we're a majority Christian, but that doesn't mean we're a Christian country.
You don't think we are?
No,
this is a Christian country.
I think this is a Christian country.
I think the majority of the country is Christian.
Yeah, but
which you could say is a Christian, but it's not necessary because we don't even use it in our schools, our churches. In our schools, you can't pray the 10 Commandments. They banned it.
Yeah, no, of course, but But our ideals are based on the Bible, right? Yeah. Like a lot of our ideals are based on the Bible, and I consider America a Christian country.
Yeah, it's a Christian country. Because the majority of the people here are Christian.
And then you know when you're sworn in, they swear you in on a Bible. They don't swear you in on a fucking Torah or Quran, right? Like
not the Talmud,
or the Talmud, right? Like so I you know to me I look at it like you know obviously the framers were all Christian. And I look at this as a Christian country. So I look at it like when, you know, as a Muslim, like you're here as a guest, man. And like praying out in public and disrupting people, I'm like, I don't know if that's like a good idea. Like it's like, you know, we already have all this propaganda that's anti-Muslim that the Jews push out. It's like, do you want to really exacerbate the problem and like confirm the stereotypes?
Totally,
right?
Totally
so
agree.
like that's my thing. Cause like I got in like a discussion with Sneeko about this, and they're like, "Oh well, you know, this isn't a Christian country. We should be able to do what we want." Look, just because you could do whatever you want doesn't mean you should do whatever you want, right? Like if your friend invites you to the house and you kick off your fucking shoes and put them on the table and your socks are dirty and stink and shit like that, he might not tell you to get out right then and there, but he's gonna probably dislike you coming over or like think twice. So I look at it like, look, there's mosques everywhere. You can pray everywhere. Why shut down a portion of Manhattan to a Times Square to pray with loudspeakers and shit?
You're doing too much.
It's doing too much, bro.
And it seems like you're trying to take over.
Right.
And that's how a lot of people interpret it.
That's the way people are going to spend it. That's the way people are going to spend
Precisely.
it.
And when I say this to them, they get mad at me. And I tell them, look, idiots, I listen to both sides. I listen to what people are saying on this side, the American Christians, and I also listen to you guys. I'm bringing you guys to the middle. They think this about us. When you guys do this exacerbates the problem. Right? It confirms the stereotypes. That's why, like, I'm sure you guys have seen, like, there's a lot of like people that are like anti-Islam all over Twitter.
Oh yeah,
and what do they do?
Hate Muslims.
Yeah. And they, what do they do? They pull the clips of them praying out loud, praying in public. They're pulling the Dearborn
all they're
clips.
doing is praying.
Yeah. But they spin it in a certain way, right? With the adhan playing 5 times a day in Dearborn, etc.
But by definition, that's also anti-Semitic, right?
It is because they're actually the real Semites.
Right.
Arabs are Semites, yeah.
How do you feel about Mamdani? They keep, I done seen this meme all over Facebook. They're using pictures of 9/11, said, wow, they forgot so fast. They're making that comparison, like calling him a terrorist. These are conservatives, these are Republicans that are doing this.
Yeah.
There's a deep hatred for Muslims in the conservative movement.
There is.
Because of 9/11 and all the propaganda around that event.
Yeah, like the war on terror was all, you know, a lot of propaganda, anti-Muslim propaganda. And that's kind of why I'm so sensitive to it, where I tell them, like, guys, when we do this, we reaffirm these stereotypes. But with 9/11, it's funny because, you know, the Israelis were involved in that too. So it's but no one talks about that because it's been censored for so long. Some people are starting to finally wake up to it now. But I remember, dude, two years ago, if you talked about Larry Silverstein or the dancing Israelis or any of this stuff, they just write you off as a crazy conspiracy theorist and anti-Semite, and they wouldn't even let you talk.
Right.
But I think at this point now, Ryan Dawson made a really good documentary called Empire Unmasked, where he redid the original. It's like 3 or 4 hours, but it goes into excruciating detail about the United States deep state, the Saudi Arabian intelligence, and Israeli intelligence, and how all of these different parties were kind of working together, whether known or unbeknown to them, to facilitate this attack. And to cover the Israeli angle real quick, the long story short is this. Israeli intelligence had foreknowledge that we were going to be attacked on that day, and Israeli operatives were caught on that day dancing and celebrating, and they all had plane tickets to leave the United States the next day, and they were all working for a moving company. This moving company was owned by a guy named Dominic Suter, who fled to Israel days after the FBI captured these dancing Israelis, and he had this moving company had been paid for by Israeli intelligence. So, and he was on the list, the target list, alongside Osama bin Laden for questioning. But he fled the country as soon as they raided the urban moving systems. And there were other moving companies all across the United States that were doing something similar. So in other words, these moving companies were acting as fronts for Israeli intelligence to collect info and data on the terrorists, because a lot of these addresses that these terrorists were staying at down in Hollywood, Florida, California, etc., they were being followed by Israeli intelligence. And then some of the hijackers, especially out of San Diego, they were funded by a Saudi intelligence officer. He paid for their rent. He welcomed them into the United States. And these guys came into the United States on their real fucking name. And they got their passports out of, I think it was either Jeddah or somewhere in Saudi Arabia. But they got it from a location that the CIA was approving these visas. And basically, the CIA knew who these guys were, knew what they're involved in. And when they came to the United States, they did not share the information with the FBI, who is supposed to do all domestic terrorism. And the reason why is because they were hoping to flip these guys, get someone in, and flip them and figure out what's going on. And the Israelis were also watching these guys using a moving company as a front. So when Mohammed Atta and all these guys, because most of the hijackers were down in Florida, these guys, these dancing Israelis that were caught, they also had addresses down in Florida, in Miami Beach, and not too far from where these guys were staying in Hollywood. So it's irrefutable. There's FBI reports that show all of this stuff. Obviously, a lot of them are redacted, but it's all out there. So if anyone ever says, oh, that's just an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, no, dude, there's literally irrefutable declassified proof, FBI 302s, everything, showing that these guys were in fact caught. They did have ties to intelligence. 2 of the guys came back as positive ties to Israeli intelligence of the dancing Israelis. There was a whole other set of Israelis that were out of Tennessee that got caught up in a ring of fake identification. And these Israelis that were caught in this ring, the separate case, one or two of them that were caught had a permit to go do work at the World Trade Center days before the attack.
That's crazy.
And they worked on the sprinkler system. So basically, when the planes hit and the fires were going on, the sprinklers didn't activate the way they were supposed to. That's why the fires spread so quickly. And these Israelis were caught days before 9/11 being in that building, and the Port Authority, who does all the maintenance, they didn't have a permit with them. So what the fuck were these Israelis doing at this building without permission from the Port Authority to be there doing sprinkler work? That doesn't make sense. And these buildings were filled with asbestos. Like, they were not making money. They were losing money on this. And then Larry Silverstein takes out a strange terrorism insurance policy.
How much was that policy?
Oh man, it was like shit. Brett, can you look it up real quick? I think it was like billions. With the biggest insurance payout of all time.
That's one hell of a coincidence.
Yeah, it is. And he wasn't there that day. And he's also a friend of Netanyahu. That's interesting. Oh, he had a dermatology appointment. His wife forced him to go to a dermatology appointment that day. So it's
if we know about this, why is our government so complacent about this?
Well, I think before, in the early 2000s, all we had was mainstream media, right?
Right, that's true.
Yeah, so mainstream media, spun the whole, they hate us because we're freedoms, we got to go to war, blah, blah, blah. There was no alternative media. Like, Alex Jones was just starting to get his show off and stuff like that. Pause. So there was really no other narrative. And then for even past that, once we did get YouTube and everything else like that, anything that had that talked about 9/11 and Israeli links would immediately get banned.
3.55 billion.
There you go.
That's crazy.
And
that's why it's so important for them in that TikTok deal.
Yeah, so I could talk about this real quick. So the person that ran YouTube for a very long time was a woman named Susan Wojcicki.
Yeah,
she passed away.
I met her. Yeah.
Oh, y'all met her?
Yeah, it was a YouTube event. Yeah.
So she, look, and I don't wish death upon anybody, but to be objective here and honest, she was a huge proponent of censoring people that talked about what she called Jewish conspiracy theories. So if you had posted anything about 9/11 during her tenure, before October 7th, it was pretty much going to get put on the ban train. So this was heavily suppressed information for a very long time. So now it's finally coming out, and people are waking up to it, but it's taken decades because the information has been censored for so long. And not only that, Google, owned by Sergey Brin, whatever, if you talk about dancing Israelis, they call it an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. So if they've done everything in their power to suppress this, now it's coming out, thankfully. But it's irrefutable that there were Israeli fingerprints all over fucking 9/11, whether it's another funny thing. So these guys were getting fake identification documents in Tennessee, right? Or somewhere in the Midwest, one of these states. And the DMV person that they were working with getting this stuff, she mysteriously dies in a fiery car accident. Interesting. And then when they investigated the thing, she was killed before the fire caught on fire. The car caught on fire. So you have the person giving them the fake documents dying mysteriously right before she's supposed to testify. A couple of these guys were in the World Trade Center days before the attack. There's a bunch of art students, trying to get into DEA buildings all across the place, right? Israeli spy art students. So all of this stuff was going on right around the same time. Interesting.
Yeah.